They wanted Sinbad principally because he's as tall as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This was the first movie where I felt Arnold seemed short or just average. And that's why.
Yeah.
That's got to be why. I mean, the entire time I'm like, why?
Well, the person he's going to be interacting with the most, they'll be similar heights. That way he won't look so abnormal. But no, the point of having Arnold Schwarzenegger is that he's a god.
Right.
What's the point of having him look normal?
Right. He's supposed to seem like an alien. He's supposed to seem like a fish out of water. He's supposed to be seem like a gentle giant. Like he's scary, but look, he's sweet. None of these things happen. Good for Sinbad being tall. Is Phil Hartman tall? Matt.
Laci.
I have one question.
Okay.
Why?
Why what?
This fucking movie is a nightmare.
Oh, yes?
Why? Why would this be one that we would need to do?
Well, it's a good question.
It's the only question.
I think that... Wait, why did I like it? I don't know.
Why did you...
We need... The rats need their cheese. We need material, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
Fucking
I haven't seen this
right.
movie since the 90s.
And that's where it should stay.
And guess what?
What? Let's discuss.
I didn't like it. But hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Welcome to Load Bearing Beams. I'm Matt Stokes.
And I'm Laci Roth.
We married each other in 2013. We've been romantically entangled since 2011. We've spent many holiday seasons together. But I have this question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When, 'tis the season, right?
Yes, and I would like to say I usually am themed in my outfit, but today I decided to theme my immune system and contract the flu. So that's how in character I am for these Christmas episodes, is that I have the flu. How wintry is that? Oh,
like a method actor. Okay, yes, yeah. Commitment to the bit.
So I'll be coughing. There will be hacking. There will be excessive this.
You've been sick in a way you've rarely been sick. I don't know if I ever remember you getting as sick as you did. And doesn't it suck that you're like, I got the flu? And it's like, yeah, I've lied and said I had the flu 10 times.
Okay, well, I've never lied and said that.
Yes, you have.
But no, I've said I had the stomach flu. That is different. But it does suck. Yes, it's like I used my.
Oh, poor Schmoopy had the flu.
I've been no, really. This time it's serious.
Yeah,
like it sucks, and I'm old and ouch. And my lungs hurt a lot.
You thought you were going to die. You'd never stop coughing. You'd never get your brain back.
I thought I was permanently going to be that version of myself, which was no version at all, really. I was in limbo. My brain was in some ether, some waiting for instructions.
Well, maybe this ties into the question I wanted to pose to you.
Fucking picture on the screen, Matt.
This picture on the screen, indeed.
Oh.
This podcast is about movies, but also about our relationship, me and Laci's relationship to each other, and how the things that we consume interact with it. But I have a question about our lives.
Okay.
When did Christmas start to suck?
The first year I had a kid.
I remember many fond times because we got together and you already had that kid. And I have so many happy memories of us with that little kid. And I pinpointed at a different time.
Okay, well, there are happy Christmas times that exist when you have kids, but I remember a notable shift and change into, I don't get to like get Christmas drunk and then like take a nap and then wake up to all the stuff that I'd gotten, things that are for me, things that people bought for me and not in lieu of buying something for me, bought something for my kid or having to go to many, many different places because now we are on demand as humans because now we have that kid and that kid must be paraded to each house.
So many different locations. Yes.
And that was not always when it was just
politics.
Me, people were like, if we see you, we see you. And that was nice. So that is when the first suckage.
I mean, yes, many people will posit it's once you become a parent, then the holiday is no longer about you. It's your kids. And now it's a job. Now it's a gig. But I'd say even back then, it was fun to get that child presents. We went way overboard. I remember 2014, we bought so much Frozen shit because it was Frozen Mania. And the kid had like kind of gotten over Frozen by that point. We're like, well, fuck. But I pinpointed on... Well, do you remember there was this time you had a Christmas party, an office Christmas party, and I went down to the French Quarter to Galatoire's and met you afterward and we got a drink.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that happening today?
No.
Like that's a fucking different world. But I think about that, I'm like, oh my God, to be there. We're young, had energy. But the point of demarcation is when we started working for ourselves.
Oh God, you're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
When you're working for someone else, they will make your holidays a little more fun because they're going to pay you.
There's a Christmas bonus.
Yep.
Everyone's slacking while you're slacking. Not so. When you have your own fucking business, you lose all ability to enjoy any of the normal times where people are looking forward to shifting into down gear.
December is a slow time for our business. So it brings with it this element of like, I mean, you have to have lots of money to enjoy Christmas. And we're just financially, why can't Christmas be in July or whatever? Or just some other time of the year. But also like we're recording this on November 27th. And I feel like Christmas is already over and we blew it.
100%. It is completely depressing how quick a month goes. The month of December felt like an eternity when I was younger. And if that quickly went away when I got into adult years, but it's now that we so dread the summers because of not having support and care for our special needs kid who needs stuff other than regular camp in the summer. Now the summer gets here so much faster.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is because he despises holidays. He loves being in school. He loves school, which is great. He is truly miserable when there's not school, and you get by on those holiday days by, taking him out and entertaining. We go to trampoline parks. That's what we're doing right now.
All of them. We tour them.
But Thursday, Thanksgiving, a few days ago comes along, and all the trampoline parks are closed. And he's like, I don't recognize Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate this holiday. Why should they be closed for me? But we just have reached a point where it's like, I don't want the holidays. I want this to, can this be over, please? Can we not do it at all?
There's still something about, I did put up the tree, and that is the thing that made me probably feel the most better health-wise was when I finally did that. I felt like not a piece of shit.
Finally, late November.
No, it was the day after Thanksgiving, but I had meant to put it up weeks before, but then I got sick, and then it was just this pile of tree on the floor that made me feel like one other kind of piece of shit, a non-Christmas preparing piece of shit.
Yes, but it's funny that could keep going.
And once I got it up, and then I remembered how much I love that giant tree. It is so needlessly large and big. It made the living room feel cleaner. There's something about Christmas chaos, clutter, Christmas mess, presents, piles of things that you can get away with if there's also a tree.
Yeah, that's true.
And now my house seems cleaner.
But it is funny that you're so early for everything that not having the decorations up mid-November made you feel like you're late and like a piece of shit when most people, you're still way ahead of everybody.
But it also, in that need also ruins a lot or will aggravate me to no end about nearly every Christmas movie that allows itself to take place over like a week of time during Christmas, because without a doubt, there are people still decorating and buying a tree the day before Christmas.
Sure.
Who would do that?
They have to exist,
It makes me so aggravated. And it happens in this fucking movie.
In this movie. They're decorating the tree. You're putting my star on my tree.
It happens with this beautiful cup that I have, that I love this cup. And it's going to be the movie that we're going to do. Is it next week? It's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, my favorite Christmas movie of all time. They fucking do it. They drop a tree down. It's on my cup. And it's only like 2 weeks. At least it's 2 weeks before Christmas, if I remember right.
Weigh in below, listeners and viewers. Do you buy a Christmas tree on Christmas Eve? There's got to be somebody who does it. Maybe like divorced dads.
Shell companies?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We did start a Christmas church. We still have nice things. Like a few years ago, we started a tradition of we have our friends over on either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and we order a ton of Popeyes.
Yep.
And that's the thing I look forward to the most now. Yeah. But I try to do things like with my family. I'm like, let's do a Christmas. Let's go to a restaurant like a week before Christmas, and that will be our Christmas gathering. And then day of, we don't have to do anything. And they're like, that's a great idea. And then they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to come over for turkey and everything.
Rude.
Yeah.
Well, and with our kid, we as much as we try, we can't have 3 weird days in a row. If we do, he goes off the deep end. So we need the exact schedule we usually have with one alteration spread many days apart. So we need the entire 2-week vacation of Christmas to pepper in the Christmas things he'll have to suffer through without making him insane. But it never fails that impromptu shit happens 3 days in a row.
Let's stop by, or why don't you just bring him on over?
No, be a quick visit. There's no quick visit when it's completely abnormal for you to be here at all.
Yes, he needs to be warned many days in a row, and you're like, hey,
yes,
in 3 days we're going to go to your grandparents' house for this amount of time, and he's like, he can deal with that.
He can deal with it, but he has to know in advance. You can't just, if you spring it on him, his life is a place where anything can be sprung at any moment. You completely shatter his perception of security.
I think that there is a crumb of a great idea in Jingle All the Way of some ideas that don't make it through, that don't push through to the final product, but you can see them there if you squint.
Okay.
Of Christmas as just a bunch of stress and obligation, but we'll get to it. 'Tis the season, I say, and on Load Bearing Beams this month, we're celebrating in style. Next week, as Laci mentioned, we're covering National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
And I think that's it for our Christmas movies. The week after
why
that,
Willy Wonka?
Well, the week after that, the movie Wonka is coming out.
Oh.
I kind of always think of Willy Wonka as a Christmas movie,
because of all the toys,
non-Christmas Christmas movie. I think I associate chocolate with Christmas. It seems like a cold movie.
It is, yeah. There's snow involved.
But we are doing an episode on
the
that.
haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, I mean elves, a factory,
a fairy godfather.
Yeah. Okay.
Gifting
Makes
of
sense.
factory.
I'll promise this about that episode. It's going to be a very normal episode.
What does that mean?
Very normal. That's all.
Oh, I can't wait.
Nothing out of the usual. We're going to be off the following week for Christmas. But December 31st, our last episode of the year, what are we doing?
We're doing a mailbag. Here's where you need to pay attention. We need questions to ask that are in that bag.
Yeah.
So if you embarrass us in front of you, I'm going to be so fucking pissed at you. Send us questions. What kind of question? What the hell are they at? My flower is touching my decorations.
Oh, God.
It's driving me crazy. This better look so fucking festive.
It does festive. You look
it does festive? Okay.
It does festive. You do a great job being festive.
Thank you
the house
so
looks
much.
amazing.
Aww.
The Christmas decorations look amazing.
Thank you.
So these questions can be about movies. They can be about episodes we've done, movies we've covered. Or just ask us anything. I don't know.
Yeah, just talk to us.
Want to know any of the most intimate details about us, or you want to know our opinions on things like when does a
life
become here I got into this sort of debate with my friend. Is album art part of an album? You can ask us that.
Of course it is.
Is a movie? Well, my friend said definitively not. But I think it is too.
He can eat a big, giant, gaping asshole. That makes no fucking sense. Of course. It's okay. Let's not get into it. Save it for the mailbag.
But like our opening credits or closing credits part of a movie. Is a movie's poster part of a credits or part of a movie?
100%.
A movie poster doesn't seem like it's part of a movie though.
Well, that's a big F you to the marketing department. And there is no movie if no one knows about it. So marketing matters.
So any of that. So here, if you leave a comment on this video.
You sucked me into our mailbag.
Or any of our YouTube videos, just leave a comment on YouTube. We'll see it. You can tweet it at us, loadbearingpod. TikTok us, load.bearing.beams.
DM me.
Please do.
Even reply to any of the posts. And I'm there too.
Yes, just put it in a public place and we will see it. So, Jingle All the Way is a 1996 film. I have on screen 2 separate posters. One was the theatrical poster, and it has kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. A lot of chaos, a lot of blur, and they're jumping on top of each other. And then there's like the main poster that you see now, which I guess is like the home video release that is a little more wholesome. Arnold's like, what? But Jake Lloyd's there with his toy, and it looks more like a family movie.
Looks like a Hallmark movie.
It does kind of suggest maybe this movie doesn't know what it is, but the theatrical poster kind of promises one kind of movie, and I think people maybe receive it in a more, I think mainly it's just kids like this movie, but it's not like the satire of Christmas and commercialism that they wanted to make.
Are you asking me a question?
No, it's
Great.
a comment. What's your history with Jingle All the Way?
Luckily, until last night, I had no history with this fucking movie. If I've seen it, then it was completely. I just filtered that bitch right on out afterward. I thought it'd seem much more familiar. Ew.
I was delighted when I heard your prediction because we record our predictions ahead of time. And I didn't realize that you didn't even know what the plot of the movie was. So let's hear from Laci.
I think Jingle All the Way is a Christmas movie that features two couples for some reason. I'm thinking, at first I thought it was Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis, but I'm not thinking of True Lies, even though they're all three in that. I just thought they did a fun thing where they put them in both movies. I have no idea. Since it is Schwarzenegger, I assume they will put him with a dainty small thing. Usually it's a child, but they like to counter his bigness and like, isn't he a gentle giant with whatever dainty small thing? Not sure what it'll be. Before Matt told me Sinbad. the other day that this is a movie about finding like the hottest toy of the season, I would have assumed this movie was about two families meeting each other and in-laws and how that clashes, and who the fuck knows. I'm sure it'll have a couple of laughs.
Wrong.
I truly have no idea how I'm going to feel about this movie. Oh God, I was so innocent then.
I love when we don't know anything about the movie and we can just guess what the plot is.
It is very rare.
Here is what I predicted.
You always get the
Here's
better.
the thing. I picked Jingle All the Way, a movie that I had seen 1,000 times on VHS as a child, but probably not since age, 11. I picked it because I assume this is a shitty movie. Its reputation is terrible.
Good.
It's lumped in with, the sad Arnold Schwarzenegger family comedy era of movies. But to get ready for this movie, I've been watching lots of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, many that I hadn't seen. I'd never seen Kindergarten Cop before. I'd never seen Last Action Hero. Trying to get myself situated in where he was in his career. And, he's great. Those movies are good. And then the director of Jingle All the Way, the movie he made right before Jingle All the Way was The Flintstones, the live action The Flintstones. And so I watched that. And that movie was pretty good.
It's one of my
great,
movies.
but it's fine. So I don't know, I kind of have a little bit high hopes for Jingle All the Way. What gives me pause is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing a normal man in Jingle All the Way, which is not something he can do. In all the movies I've watched recently, he never plays a normal guy. So, I don't know. We'll see. I am cautiously optimistic about this movie being a perfectly fine family comedy. Well...
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why they have to reset Buzz Lightyear every single fucking Toy Story. It's because he only works as a fish out of water. It only works if you let him be his macho self or his awkward self who's trying to be something other than his macho self for moments at a time, not the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're ashamed of yourself.
It's not just the performance, because I don't think he's good in this
Jamie!
movie. It's that movies like Kindergarten Cop, tonally and filmmaking wise, are filmed as if they are a cop movie.
Yes.
That then kids get interjected into.
Which is hilarious.
So tonally, this movie doesn't work at all.
I'm completely horrible vibes.
But I think for about 45 minutes, I was like, this is a perfectly fine movie. What? You and the 13-year-old were laughing occasionally.
At it.
Okay, but in a this is kind of fun. This is kind of shitty, but kind of fun.
Nothing fun.
And I think it's just really, really terrible at the end.
It is so uncomfortable. It is so... It does mean things that aren't interesting. It does funny things on accident. It does... There are zero heartwarming parts. I mean... He's the most non-believable okay, so it opens with him after the Turbo Man commercial that you see. It opens with Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of a la Father of the Bride. He's an entrepreneur. He's running his own company. He's successful, but it's probably small potatoes. I mean, he's middle upper class, but he's overworked. He's always at the job, and he's multitasking. He's at his, hey, you're our favorite customer. You're our favorite customer. He's so busy. He's
insincere.
Thank you so much. He said she's such an office guy. And I wrote down like, there is not one thing that this man has just touched on his desk that I believe Arnold Schwarzenegger knows how to operate. And I am including a pen. He has one of those muscle, the things where you squeeze it and you work out your muscles while you're sitting down with your hand. That is the only thing he touches in that entire scene where I'm like, yes, he knows what to do with that.
Yeah.
He's computer, get down. Yes, pin, right. Oh, blow up now. Why you don't blow up pin?
He does not say get down in this movie, which is a problem.
Get down. It is a problem.
Yeah, he is not. He cannot play a normal dad. And he's good with kids. I've watched a bunch of his movies recently. Like he's really good in Commando with little Alyssa Milano, and he's great in Kindergarten Cop with the kids.
He's great in Kindergarten Cop.
He's good in Terminator 2 with shitty little Edward Furlong. But yeah, we'll get into everything this movie does wrong. But let's talk a little bit about the history of Jingle All the Way.
It's like it popped into existence to kill me and then popped back out. It is the Terminator. This movie is the Terminator.
Huh. I didn't hear you having the kind of meltdown, I hate everything reaction last night when we watched it that I normally feel you when we watch movies you hate. But maybe I just had... Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, my senses were dulled. I woke up with like 12% more brain today and was so angry at you for making me watch this last night.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, let's go back 40 years ago this very week to the Cabbage Patch Riots. Some call it the original Black Friday, but they don't have reason to do that. So Cabbage Patch Dolls, I think, were the main inspiration cited for the screenplay, for the idea of Jingle All the Way. In 1983, these brand new dolls, the Cabbage Patch Dolls, which have their own really interesting history. And there's a documentary, very acclaimed documentary in theaters right now about the Cabbage Patch Kids and the theft of the idea for them and the weird corporate history and the fact that there's a Cabbage Patch like hospital in Georgia that you go visit where you can adopt your Cabbage Patch kid and they treat it like it's an actual child and there's doctors and stuff working there.
It's born out of a cabbage patch? Out of a cabbage?
Yeah. So, okay. But when these came out in 1983, they were a phenomenon and, too little supply, too much demand. And, while we were watching Jingle All the Way and there's scenes parodying the Cabbage Patch Riots, Laci said somebody actually died during this. And then I had to chime in and be like, actually, that's kind of overstated.
Okay, but how do you kind of die?
Well, they were in a coma further. No. The worst thing that happened is a woman broke her leg.
Okay.
But this is the sort of thing that just grows in the popular retelling of, people were ugly, poorly behaved, and employees were harassed. But nobody died.
Okay, I instantly thought of Tickle Me Elmo. So when would Tickle Me Elmo become a thing?
Tickle Me Elmo would have been a thing as Jingle All the Way was in theaters.
Okay, so but an understood thing?
No.
Or just was a coincidence?
Yeah, they didn't know. They didn't anticipate. Because I have examples of Christmas rushes for toys, of fads. You have the hula hoop craze of 1958.
Naturally.
You have the original Barbie in 1959. Tickle Me Elmo, 1996. Again, after Jingle All the Way comes out. They didn't know it was coming. Furby in 1998. One thing I didn't include is Beanie Babies because I'm rereading the Beanie Baby Bubble, which is a very good book. But Beanie Babies were never like all of these Christmas things were based on actual demand from kids wanting them.
Driven by children, yeah.
Whereas Beanie Babies were purely a speculative commodity. I shall buy adults wanting to buy them to hoard them and sell them at a markup.
Laundering their need to collect and consume by pretending it's for their children.
My favorite detail about the Beanie Baby Bubble, the Great Beanie Baby Bubble by Zach Bissonette, is like these stories of these suburban moms who, make all this, invest in Beanie Babies. And it's supposedly these are like normal middle-class women who it's like, Dina she worked as an administrative assistant. She was on maternity leave and she spent her family's whole savings of $100,000 on Beanie Babies. You're like, I'm sorry. What normal person has $100,000 in savings? And this is 1996 money.
And maternity leave.
Yes.
What the fuck?
It's just like in Jingle All the Way. If you had a job, you were rich as shit, but you didn't know you were rich. Yeah. Okay. So let's make a movie about it. Why don't we? And Randy Kornfield writes the screenplay for this movie. His only other theatrical feature credit is 8-Legged Freaks. but it gets the attention of producer Chris Columbus, who was the director of Home Alone.
Okay.
I think Home Alone is I think what they're aiming for with this movie, like in terms of tone and audience.
God, wow. Because I just assumed they were trying to do a cash grab after the success of the Santa Claus. Like, let's make a grumpy man part of Christmas, and let's have a boy really rely on the grumpy man. And he's a wayward dad, a dad that's not totally involved, but this will be the way he gets back in with this. So, and it's very much felt like, well, if Tim Allen can do it, then why not Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Where Home Alone had so many, it had charismatic villains and bad guys and a kid that was lightning in a bottle that had charisma no child actor has ever matched, in my opinion.
You don't think Jake Lloyd comes close to this movie? I meant in terms of like the mixture of antics of like respected comedians like improvising with each other, also having like slapstick for kids, also having like this gushy sentimentality.
You're right. I don't think of this cast as stacked, but yeah, the fucking Sinbad, Phil Hartman, and then there's a goddamn Belushi in there for good measure. Vern Troyer, not that he's like a comedic genius, but like when you see all those people on a piece of paper, you think we're going to get something good out of this.
No, and
you don't.
Well, with Home Alone, you had
I know.
John Candy and Catherine O'Hara and Chris Columbus just let them go, just riff with each other in the back of that van. And in Jingle All the Way, his producer, I'm sure, is telling Sinbad and Phil Hartman, and this is documented, they got to improvise most of their lines, and he probably thought like, we're doing it again, we're catching it again, we're going to do it again. But you didn't. But
the tone is so off.
But Phil Hartman is a treasure. He's so funny in this movie, and Sinbad's very fun too.
I always enjoy Sinbad. He had a stand-up special that I remember really liking on Comedy Central. And am I having a Shazam, a pizzazz moment where was Sinbad ever a genie, or is it just that he wore genie pants?
Wow. This is the example of the Mandela effect.
Okay.
This is the and we've even on our show we did a fake episode. We did like a
but I don't know
2-minute segment
now.
where we faked talking about Shazam.
what's
Shazam is the movie that Sinbad allegedly starred in as a genie.
Yeah. That's a movie.
That doesn't exist. No.
How?
And everybody's like, well, you're thinking of Kazam and Shaq, and you're just mixing up two large black men.
No. He had these pants.
Says no, this movie doesn't exist.
He has genie pants, and I swear to God,
he did wear genie pants in something.
That's what it is. That is what I'm. Oh my God, I'm textbook. Why would you just search genie pants and not Sinbad? Oh, you did. Sorry. Is Sinbad just the name of like a genie? Is that the problem?
Well, Sinbad is the Sinbad the sailor from the Arabian Nights,
right?
Which different Arabian Night was about a genie. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. No, but that comedy special, I swear he wore the pants.
It's saying he on TNT hosted like a show introducing a movie called Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, which had a genie in it. All right, I don't.
This is blowing my mind. I Shazam myself.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. That man had pants.
So, director Brian Levant, directed Jingle All the Way. This is Mr. Levant with his massive collection of toys. He wrote a book called My Life in Toys a few years ago. He's a big toy guy. And he said he was delighted to do this movie because it allowed him to basically design a toy line and design costumes and a whole franchise from scratch. He was and the toy stuff is good. I mean, it's
fine. Yeah. I mean, it pulls from a lot of different, like I see Power Rangers, I see Iron Man,
but it's well observed. It's from people who know what they're talking about.
I think so. That part was real.
So Brian Levant wrote for Happy Days in the 70s and the Jeffersons. And then his first movie as a director was Problem Child 2. And then Beethoven, The Flintstones, Jingle All the Way, The Flintstones, and Viva Rock Vegas, Snow Dogs, Are We There?
I like all of these except for Jingle All the Way. And I did not see Are We There Yet.
You liked Snow Dogs?
No, I didn't see. I didn't like Snow Dogs, but I like everything else.
Yeah.
I like half.
I watched The Flintstones this week to get ready for this movie, which I think I saw in theaters, but I didn't remember it. And I thought it was pretty okay.
I've seen that one so many times.
Really? Yeah. It's like, I admire the commitment to the specific tone they're going for of basically trying to recapture the tone of the cartoon and not being like super self-deprecating about it. Mm-hmm. So I watched that and I thought maybe Jingle All the Way will be good. It wasn't. Arnold Schwarzenegger. This movie's very interesting, at a very interesting crossroads for Arnold. And
is he crossing over from actor to politician?
Not yet. But he was trying to, okay, well, so 82, we have Conan the Barbarian, 84, Terminator, 85, Commando, 87, Predator. He, in the 80s, he's on fire with solid hits, but, genre hits. The Terminator's a big movie, but none of these are, like, even the first Terminator is not a giant hit. Mm-hmm. But he's obviously a very big star. Late 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Twins is one of mine. Maybe we should do that one.
Well, I watched it this year.
Oh,
remember when I kept saying twin facts for you?
Nope.
Because I read about twins on Wikipedia. And I'm like, did you know that twins are...
Wait, you even research movies you're just watching for fun? Like you do research around that movie too?
It wasn't research for...
Let me investigate twins before I watch the movie Twins.
I need stuff to read on Wikipedia when I fall asleep, and I'd watched that movie that day and I was like, why don't I look up twins? And then I wasn't expecting to find out such interesting facts. Did you know, listeners, that twins, I can't get into this.
It's a whole episode all on its own.
Yes, it really is.
I'm going to submit that for the mailbag.
Matt, tell us about twins, please.
Yeah, you have to use a voice for every different letter.
Well, 88 is Twins, and it is for his first comedy, and it's a big hit for him. And it's like, okay, this is a different side of Arnold. Total Recall is 1990. It is an action sci-fi, but a very different kind of action sci-fi. I'd say his single best movie, Total Recall. That's great. Kindergarten Cop is his first family movie, but it's not really it's not. Families can watch it, but it is still kind of made like it's an Arnold action movie.
Very quotable.
Which is the key to it. And then Terminator 2 in 91 is his by far biggest hit, biggest movie of the year, crossover, all-time iconic movie.
Which is?
Terminator 2.
Oh, I don't think you said it.
I did.
Did you? Okay.
And as I said earlier, he's been good with kids throughout his career, so this turn kind of makes sense.
Oh, God, Junior. Oh, I forgot that existed. Oh, that's embarrassing. I'm having a hard time even accepting that it exists right now. Oh.
Well, what?
It's so fucked. It's such a stupid premise. Okay, sorry. I'm looking at it and I'm having some secondhand embarrassment. Okay.
So he tries to, I'm going to reteam with a bunch of directors I worked with earlier. We had great success, and let's try to do it again and maybe push myself in a different direction. Yes?
You have the poster of Last Action Hero on here. Is this not the exact poster of Back to the Future? Same colors, same every single thing?
It's going for that vibe. But Back to the Future itself was trying to be like a sort of throwback to like 30s adventure in a way.
Okay, yeah, the slanty, it's very Indiana Jones, that font. Okay.
So reteamed with John McTiernan for Last Action Hero, with James Cameron for True Lies, with Ivan Reitman for Junior. And True Lies is the only, after Terminator 2, True Lies is the only really big hit that Arnold Schwarzenegger has to this day. He's kind of floundering, and Junior is a disappointment. He's like, I'll work with Danny DeVito and Ivan Reitman again.
Can you imagine why that wouldn't just totally not make everyone very creep the fuck out?
I've never seen it.
I've definitely seen it. I just remember anything with
men getting pregnant.
Sure, any of that genre, and I'm out, baby. No, I don't know. I remember it being very cringe. It's just so sad because they're like Danny DeVito and fertility stuff. Remember from Twins, how a mom was pregnant and one of us was this way and the other one was that. So Junior. It's just sad.
I didn't even think of that.
It's sad them trying to capture the magic in such an obvious way and failing.
Well, and until I'd see Twins, I think I always thought that Twins was the movie where Arnold gets pregnant.
Oh, yeah. There you go. See?
And then Jingle All the Way, try to recapture that Kindergarten Cop magic. And it is a very expensive movie. It makes back its budget, but it is not the big crossover hit that they were looking for.
I would have had no idea that it was so expensive. But yeah, I mean, if that parade's real, if all that mall stuff is needing to be an empty mall to do it.
But also he's at the point where he just commands giant pay. He makes $20 million for every movie he's in. And then after that, Batman and Robin, 97, End of Days, 99, Sixth Day, 2000, Collateral Damage. These are nothing movies. None of them are hits. He finally goes back to the well and makes Terminator 3 in 2003, but no James Cameron this time. And it is like a modest hit, but it's not the big blockbuster. And he's like, well, you played your Terminator card and it didn't work, so just go be governor. So that's where he's at this point.
Well, no one else's name can fit on the damn movie poster with him. So he's always just alone at the top or the bottom. Schwarzenegger.
I wonder how they figured out that you need to just put his last name. Because,
I mean, it's just like with my middle name. Once you see any of three of my names, you just read the one that stands out. I was always referred to as Elizabeth on the first day of school because it's double the size of either part of my other two names, Laci and Elizabeth Roth. So I'm sure it's just from marketing. Like no one is seeing the word Arnold if they're also seeing. It's basically a shape at this point. Schwarzenegger is such a memorable look that it's the triangle. You put a triangle on your movie poster essentially.
And also, I think there's like we're gonna the secret this into happening. Like this is Schwarzenegger. Like is sort of a throwback to this is
stamp.
This is Garbo or this is
Schwarzenegger
Karloff.
Stamp.
These are these big, just icons bigger than movies themselves. Okay, Sinbad, aka David Adkins, who was a stand-up in the 90s. The 80s. He named himself Sinbad after the sailor. And he his career launched when he appeared on Star Search as a stand-up comedian. And then he was in the show A Different World. I don't think I've seen one episode of any Cosby adjacent property. I've never seen The Cosby Show. I've never seen A Different World.
Okay.
No familiarity with it.
Yeah, I watched A Different World a little bit, but I definitely watched the Sinbad show.
Really?
I watched Sister. I'm just naming black shows. Is that okay? Fuck. I watched. Why would you say that it's Cosby adjacent?
A Different World?
Yeah.
Because
is it a spinoff?
Yeah, the Lisa Bonet was the star, was from the Cosby Show. She was playing her character, but she left A Different World after the first season. So it was like, well, the star of the show's not here anymore. We got to build it around different people. But they try to launch him as a movie guy in movies.
I find him very funny.
House
charming.
Guest in '95. Have you seen that?
Yes, and I didn't even think of that connection with Phil Hartman.
First Kid and Good Burger in '96.
Definitely saw First Kid several times.
Well, it doesn't really work, his movie career, and that's that.
I find him so charismatic though, and charming and funny, and I just want to be his friend. You don't get that vibe from him?
I'm sure he'd be a good person to be friends with. I mean, he's great friends with Bill Cosby. And
oh, okay. Sorry. Well, there goes that.
And let's just mention Jake Lloyd. Now, this is a thing where Laci's non-Star Wars background means she's just totally oblivious to this totemic figure of menace in all of our lives. Because you've never seen Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
That sounds right.
You've never seen the Jar Jar Binks movie?
Oh, no, never.
Okay. Right. So Jake Lloyd, it plays Anakin Skywalker, who will eventually become Darth Vader. The whole reason these prequel movies exist is to see this kid turn evil. And his performance, and I blame none of this on Jake Lloyd. He's an innocent child. Does not have the agency to say yes or no. I don't want to work in movies.
Right.
And his performance in Star Wars is so obnoxious and so cute kid, and every line delivery is set at like 11 volume, and I'm just a little kid who wants to be a Jedi.
Oh.
And I always thought, I don't think I'd seen Jingle All the Way since I saw Jingle All the Way a million times when I was a kid, but I think since The Phantom Menace came out in 1999, I had not actually gone back and watched this movie. So this is the first time I've seen Jake Lloyd in a non-Anakin Skywalker role. And in my head, it always been like, he's got to be better in other movies. It's got to be George Lucas. And George Lucas famously is not interested in directing human beings. He can't do it. He just like, do it again, do it better, louder, less emotion.
Okay.
But he's really bad in Jingle All the Way. He's just this.
I mean, he's a really cute kid.
He's playing it like he plays it like he's in a commercial. Just
what the entire movie. At some point, I wrote it down. It feels like an extended commercial. The whole movie.
Yeah.
It's got that level of cheese and like disinterest and this feeling of like, I don't need to commit or like invest in any of these characters. They're going to be gone in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So he was perfect for that.
You remember him, I guess, but because he's loud. Dad, I want a Turbo Man.
I love your Jamie. I can't do his accent, but it's just, I love you, Jamie. I can't do it.
Jamie.
That line drives me crazy. I was like, oh, this is how we're starting the movie. Oh, fuck. Oh, God, this is bad. Okay, so wait. So this actual actor, Jake Lloyd, though, he's got some issues there.
Yeah, so his first movie is Unhook the Stars in 96. Later, he's in Jingle All the Way. And then from that, he's in Star Wars. And this ruins his life because everyone hates him and hates the movie because of him. And he is bullied at school and he retires from acting. And then he has legal problems and medical problems. And he is diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic and was arrested and put in a institution. And he's had a shitty life. And everybody, shame on everybody, me included, for being so mean to him. Blame George Lucas and blame the Lloyd family, but don't blame Jake Lloyd. But also he's not good in Jingle All the Way. So
okay,
now is the time for us to discuss the movie itself, scene by scene. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Jingle All the Way opens with the 20th Century Fox logo.
Wow.
Yeah. I just wanted to point it out because it's been, 6 years since the Fox acquisition by Disney. And I think
Let me check. Yep, that's what I put in my
further
diary.
and further we get away from it, though, it's just like the more fucking tragedy it is that Fox just doesn't exist anymore. And I think if we wonder what's wrong with the movie business right now, portion of it is there's just one of the major studios just doesn't exist anymore. There's no
clever
competition.
foxes.
No clever foxes.
No Rolling Stones to the Beatles. Nothing to, right?
I mean,
push
yes.
each other to their better limits. That's not it. You know what I mean? Have something to compete against, something real.
Right. There used to be one more major player. Now there's not. And I'm sure within 2 years, maybe the Warner Brothers will probably be purchased by one of the others, probably by Universal. And, it's like in Cloud Atlas, they call the section that takes place in the future, they call all movies Disney's. And that's not hard to imagine that only Disney will exist in the future.
Have I seen this movie?
You have.
Okay. I'm sure it was great.
Yes. The movie opens with an episode of Turbo Man. And this is a pretty good recreation of a Power Rangers episode. Mm-hmm. This movie is maybe a year too late to the Power Rangers party, but it's okay. It is probably too high production value for an episode of Power Rangers. I don't remember. You were too old for Power Rangers.
I was, but I would watch it like this, oh, I'm too cool. I'm not.
Really?
Well, because I'd be at Before Care at the Owl Tree, and they'd play stuff for people younger than me, and so I'd have to sit there and watch it, and I hated it. And watched it.
Yeah.
I hate watched it.
Sure.
It was, I found it very, I knew Saved by the Bell was cheesy, but I loved it. Mm-hmm. There's something about this cheese that I very much hated.
Yeah. It would be, because, the way they made the show was in Japan, there's a show called Super Sentai, and the American version would just keep the action sequences from Japan and then shoot new live action footage with American actors, which would lead to discrepancies like the Pink Ranger has a skirt because she's a girl, but the Yellow Ranger, who in America is also a woman, in the Japanese version is played by a man. So the Power Rangers themselves, the Yellow Ranger does not have a skirt. You know what I'm saying? So there were discrepancies like that. It would be funny if in this section,
explain to me how. What parts? So there are parts of the Power Rangers that were used from the show in Japan.
So, because they're costumed, they're masked.
Oh,
you just dub over the American actors, but you just keep all of the action sequences where they're fighting behind their masks. And then when they take their masks off, that's when you now cut in your new footage.
Okay.
And that's why these non-union actors. These non-union actors just doing a really shitty Saved by the Bell sort of impression.
Yeah, no, completely. They all just look like stuntmen. Mm-hmm. They don't look like they're acting. They look like they're moving around.
But you'll see the Pink Ranger has a skirt.
Yeah.
The Yellow Ranger does not.
It never read as a skirt to me, but now I see it.
But
the Yellow Ranger in this also doesn't have a dick. So there's, that's some continuity. Not one I can see, not a protruding dick.
Whose dick can you see?
None of them. But if you could see the yellow one's dick, I'd really be taken out of it. I'd really know it wasn't probably a yellow lady ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, that was good. Lack of dick.
It would be funny if like they have this action going and then they cut away to like an obviously different actor playing Turbo Man who's like, oh, I'll get you Dementor. It'd be funny if you kept in if this just looks too good for Power Rangers, if it looked more shitty. That's all I'm saying. I
was in a rush to get to the real shit movie that was going to be happening after this fake show, so I didn't give it a lot of thought except for that I was already annoyed. I'm just like, oh, they're world building. Who gives a fuck? It's a fucking hour and 20-minute movie. I don't need you to build a world here. Like, I get it. It's a fucking action figure. I understand what those are. I don't need this whole other stuff. Oh, and it has a sidekick? I can get that from context clues. I don't need this.
This is good. This is the world building is good, and the director's a toy guy, so he's going to care about these details.
That's true.
That's why this movie's so good. Okay, so then we cut away and we meet this little piece of shit, Jake Lloyd as Jamie.
Okay, but he looks just like our nephew. He looks just like him. So I see a cute little boy who can act.
He also really seems younger in this still that I took than he does in the rest of the movie.
Tiny. No, I mean, I felt while watching this, like they definitely went for maybe a year younger than the kind of little boy that's usually the driver of one of these movies. He seems almost too young. He's like right after toddler. Where
he looks older though, but he's acting like he's.
I
when we see
him tiny, like 4 years, like 5.
Oh, but okay. I mean, the actor seems like he's 7 playing 5.
Yeah.
When we first see him, he's watching the TV show and he's like doing the moves from the show and he's saluting at the TV.
Yeah.
We've had lots of, kids that we've seen watch television. Have we ever seen a kid actually like, in Dora the Explorer, they're like, what do you think? And then they wait for the kid to respond.
I think that he's supposed to be playing someone right out of toddler age. And I thought, and I did, I don't know. I don't have any typical boy children in my life that I've watch any TV for a very long time. So I can't say. But anyway, I thought like he's got to be at least a year or 2 younger than even the boy that's in the Santa Claus. And that boy's pretty young when you consider how old Macaulay Culkin is playing. Mm-hmm. And each year makes a bigger difference at this span of life. So it's not that much different in age, but it is interesting. It's like the younger they make the kid, the less they want you to care about the kid. It's like, yeah, kid. Okay, now adults come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's an age of when this becomes a kid's movie, a movie that's going to be run by the kid.
Right. All the home video marketing of the movie makes it seem like this is the movie about this kid because he's on the poster.
It couldn't have been.
Let's circle back to Jake Lloyd and the Phantom Menace because this is not being,
this movie became his Phantom Menace.
One of the 10 most important things in your life, the Phantom Menace. I just want to play a clip for you from the Phantom Menace.
You said we were circling back. Why are we circling now? Oh, I thought you said we were coming back to this. We are now, though. I thought we were leaving it and coming back. It's fine.
Circling. We circle
We've
back.
We've now circled.
Yes, this is the circle
Got
right
it.
here. All right, let me play this is maybe like 2 minutes, but I want for you to experience, and maybe I'll cut this out, but I want listeners and viewers, Laci's now going to watch Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker when we meet him in the movie.
Okay, but Natalie's not giving him much either.
No, she also sucks. That's what I realized.
And then what happened?
Yes.
You're a little boy? You wash cup?
Yeah.
That cup dirty? Dirty cup boy?
Nobody's good in the Star Wars
directing?
prequels. It is George Lucas in total control and
having a nap? This was nap time?
No, he says like, I don't understand people. He'd rather everybody just be computers. He just wants to tell them just doesn't want them to, doesn't understand. Here, I want you to play this scene with this emotion. Yes, this is what I'm going for. So then we cut over to Arnold Schwarzenegger as Howard Langston in his office, and they're having quite a Christmas party. Yeah, I've noticed that like most of I feel like once an episode I point out food in movies.
You do?
Yeah, I'm always taking, look at this piece of pie she's not eating. Look at this great spread at this Christmas party. So apparently
This
it
looks
is
like
an
a
obsession
shit,
of mine.
a shit spread.
Oh, but there's a lot of it. I don't know. This looks like a really expensive Christmas
I
party.
guess, but there's like a pasta salad in a basket. That's not the way to have pasta salad.
But tell us about Howard Langston when we first meet him.
Well, I mean, they're not doing a whole lot of work to explain what he is, but he does seem like he is probably owns this business. Otherwise, why he's so committed to the customer support aspect of his job.
Yeah, but it's even sadder if he doesn't own the business.
It's
and I think
super
he doesn't
fucking
own the
sad.
business. He's just some shitty middle manager.
We don't even know what this business is. It's supposed to be very cute that he's just so busy, but he still turns on the charm and tells everyone that he's servicing via the phone that they're his number one customer. I mean, whatever. Okay, we get it. Office party. He's not even boozing it up and chasing some skirt around the party. He's just shuffling paperwork and looking at equipment on a desk that he has no idea how to use. And we're supposed to believe that he is business dad. Here comes business dad.
He is business dad. But we see right away with this, because we have a montage of him telling different customers on the phone, you're my number one customer. And I just think like right away, okay, this is not Arnold Schwartz. Arnold Schwarzenegger can't play insincere. No. He's like the most sincere.
Right.
He can't, like, this is supposed to be schmarmy, shitty guy. Like,
is he? That's schmarmy. Maybe that's why it's just not. He's supposed to be slimy.
On page, yeah, that's what it's, and that's what this is supposed to communicate to you.
He can't.
Right.
What a misread of like what works about him.
Right. If this were, Tim Allen obviously
Absolutely.
just in the Santa Claus is a very similar.
Oh yeah, you could have put a clip of that right here, and that'd also be the appropriate kind of business dad.
Right.
You've got a picture of Robin Williams here from Hook, who I think they do a great job of setting up the kind of dad he is and the level of importance, the middle manageriness of where he is and his role at the companies. And right away Robin Williams is important, but he's still climbing the ladder and that he's very overly invested in his career and probably not getting the respect he wants. So he's probably kind of letting that bullshit trickle down the ladder to his family. Here, Arnold seems happy as a clam to be answering all these phones and telling people how much he loves them and not knowing how to use his desk objects.
I don't think it's actually like, I think he does love his family and is happy to go see his family. He's just like, can't manage his time well. Whereas
that's right.
On paper, this should be like a man who's way more interested in work than his family. But like Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, no, why would I be that way? I'm a nice man. I'm a nice family man.
I love answering the phone every time it rings.
Yes.
It's
and so going through this movie again this week, to make my notes, make my outline, I noticed how much it seems like, I guess on paper, on the script, they want him to do something shitty and smarmy, but it just doesn't work because it's him. And I don't know if Arnold himself was like telling the director, no, I'm not doing that. Or they just realized like, it's not going to be believable if Arnold acts this way. But there's like deleted scenes where he's like rehearsing his apology speech to his wife. And it's like, this is supposed to be a shittier person than he is playing in the movie.
Yes.
So it all falls apart.
100%.
He's busy at this office party talking to his clients, and his assistant's like, you're going to miss the kids' karate class. And he's like, no, I'll do it.
I know, do it. I can't wait for your accent all through this episode. Truly, it's one of my favorite things about our podcast is the mad accents. The accents, as I like to call them.
Thank you.
They only had one event for a child that they had to observe correctly in this movie. I know it's a nitpick, but all they had to do was understand where karate takes place and know that it's not a school after school sport that you do in a huge gymnasium. You also, belt ceremonies are not done with every single person who goes to that dojo getting their belt on that day. Like that doesn't, it's just that only one person needed to know how karate worked for this to be just why take us out of it if you're going to bother putting us in it? So it could have been anything else.
That is a nitpick. It was the 90s. Karate was so hot. Did you do karate in the 90s?
I did, yeah. I went all the way to the yellow belt.
Oh, I couldn't even get to yellow belt. I got a yellow piece of duct tape on my
mom paid for that yellow belt, and then I immediately quit.
But I only realized as an adult, I took what we called karate, and they're like, what type of karate is it? It's Taekwondo, which I realize is like saying I'm going to go get my favorite type of Chinese food, sushi. It's just like, because Taekwondo is Korean.
Oh,
and karate
America
is Japanese. Yeah, but it's like, no, it's all, what kind is it Japanese karate or is it Chinese karate?
Some of that delicious Chinese food from Japan.
Yeah. What?
Why do we suck so hard?
A more broad question. We talked a lot about.
You mean like a question for a broad?
For a broad, yes, for you. You're the broad of this show.
Tell me.
We talked Arnold on our 2020 Terminator 2 episode, but refresh us. What are your thoughts on the man himself?
Like his character as a person in real life?
What do you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a movie star?
When I got to pick my own movies that I would be watching in my life, I think I had a good opinion of him. I love Twins. I love Kindergarten Cop. And that was probably the extent of any kind of interaction with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he's delightful in both of those movies. He's a great fish out of water, earnest, like just wants to do the thing he's supposed to do. I'm just here to drive the plot. We got to keep going. We must go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I didn't know there were movies where they put him in the wrong stuff. I guess I know I saw Junior because you put the movie poster up earlier, and I had a strong reaction to it. So I guess I must have also seen The Fall. I don't know. He didn't play a huge role in my life in a way that I know he's really important to certain people.
But your opinion of him is just like, it's positive. It's not.
Yeah. In the right role, he's. True Lies, which I love. I loved that movie. So that'd be another one where he can even play a love interest if done the right way.
I think people, I don't know so much anymore, but I feel like maybe 15 years ago, people, thumbed their nose up at him.
Like what he doesn't make high art.
Yeah.
But so what? But that's the only kind of art that matters.
Yeah, I guess. Or just, he's not somebody to be taken seriously. He's a one-trick pony. Yeah. I looking at his career, and especially, and so much of it is informed by today, by what movie stars do today and what movies get made today. The comparison to him is Dwayne Johnson right now, and Dwayne Johnson would never make the choices Arnold Schwarzenegger. He would never submit himself to.
Isn't that just better management?
He's not willing. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, as a producer, hired directors like Paul Verhoeven to work with and say, "You can tell me, I'm yours. Do with me what you will, even if it makes me look bad."
Okay.
And like The Rock would never do that.
Oh yeah, but the Rock comes from an acting background, and wrestling is very much a show. Someone who you need to be able to manage yourself to develop a persona to even get noticed by Vince McMahon and to rise up in those ranks. Arnold Schwarzenegger was just like this oddity to be gazed upon. He's in bodybuilding. That is completely fucking different. In fact, people put you into poses. He's literally a lump of clay. So it makes sense.
I get why The Rock wants to make the decisions, but trying to make better things and push yourself. Arnold did the right thing, which is submit to strong directors, whereas Dwayne Johnson just hires directors who he can push around, and Arnold did the opposite.
Who are you saying has the good career? I'm completely confused.
Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
Should we go back and do all this again?
No, I just didn't. I guess I only seen The Rock and things that I like him in, and I don't really follow him around much, and I don't know what he's up to.
Oh, he makes 4 movies a year, and they're all terrible.
Oh, I did not know.
and he was like trying to sort of do different kinds of roles early in his career, and he stopped. And there's stories about like he can never look bad. He can never like have the lower hand in a scene. He always has to win every fight he's in on screen.
Oh, that's gross.
And he
takes himself too seriously.
He takes himself seriously, takes his roles, persona. But in the shittiest, most superficial way.
Yeah,
even weird things like,
I don't want to surprise anyone ever. I don't want anyone ever walking away from the theater going, huh?
Yeah.
Like no surprises.
Even like,
that's odd.
Like in the Fast and Furious movies, they had the same actress playing his daughter, who is like a little kid, and she would naturally age up, and by the time he gets his solo movie Hobbs and Shaw, this actress would now be a teenager. But he's like, no, recast her with a younger actress, so that because like if I'm playing against a teenage daughter, that will present a different dynamic. I want just pure wholesome me and cute kid relationship.
Oh, that's gross. I didn't need to know that about him. Can't he just stay Maui in my mind? That sucks.
You know, they're doing a live action Moana and so he can play Maui.
Wait. They're doing it so he can play Maui?
I mean, they're doing it because that's what they do. But,
okay.
You know, he's returning. The Moana actress is not, but he's going to be there playing live action Maui.
Good for him.
Will Howard make it to the dojo on time?
Most assuredly not. This is bizarre. Okay, so now me and our kid looked at each other several times to be like, what are we supposed to think of this guy, this Ted guy?
Yeah, Phil Hartman.
We are now at the gym where the fucking karate's happening, and apparently everyone in the entire neighborhood has the exact same activities that they do. So Schwarzenegger's neighbor, Ted, is there sitting right next to his wife, who is there. And Ted's got the video camera. He's Johnny on the spot. He's the best. He's what? He's a divorcee. From this scene, I think he's a handyman. I think he's a prostitute. I think he's married. I think he's not married.
Yeah, it's so unclear.
A horribly convoluted scene. I think he's creepy, and I think he's a love boat. There are women fawning all over him, asking him to come fuck, and then Schwarzenegger's wife. I'm sorry, I should use names. Let's
Liz.
Call her Liz. All right, and then Liz is sitting next. Like I think I remember just kind of going, oh, or ooh. Anyway,
the idea, which is not communicated here, is he's a divorced dad who I guess has custody of his kid, and he's performatively super dad. And this makes all the other mothers fawn over him. I wish my husband would be, this close to my son. Here, I baked you cookies.
Super dad and like a Superman, and just he can fix everything. He knows he knows when a woman needs to take a bath and lie down.
I guess
he's trying to be everything.
And I guess there's maybe like a metatextual, like compare him to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is a literal, he's like a Greek god, but they don't look at him that way. They're like, he's the shitty dad. Phil Hartman. Oh my.
He can fill my heart, man. Okay. So now we have our first interaction with the cop that Arnold Schwarzenegger's character is going. Schwarzenegger's such a mouthful. What am I calling this man? Howard, who Howard is going to run into over and over again throughout this movie. He gets pulled over for speeding, so now we know he's not going to make it on time. I don't know this actor. The cop.
This is Robert Conrad. He's a character actor who's been in a billion things.
Sure.
Best known to audiences as playing Secret Service agent Jim West on the television show Wild Wild West.
Okay, there's interesting. I prefer Will Smith.
He's great. He's so funny in this movie.
There's just I don't enjoy his look. I don't know what it is that rubbed me wrong. I just kept waiting for it to be someone more familiar, more comedically familiar, maybe too. I know they don't give him a lot to do, but we do keep seeing him. So I guess I just thought there should be a different person here. I don't know.
Yeah, they needed to ask themselves, who does Laci Roth know? Because I think he's very funny. He has the best line in the movie. You broke my little mirror.
Okay, that is the best. That is the best line. But I mean, sure, fine. I don't know. They put a character actor in every other damn spot, and you're saying he is one. That's fine. I got I went limp when I saw him every time. Just went, oh.
All right. Well, I'll make sure he doesn't appear in anything else we watch.
Well, in a role where he's supposed to make me creeped out, then great. But I don't think I'm supposed to be creeped out by him. I think I'm supposed to go, oh, here's dad. He's going to ruin our fun. Womp womp. That's how I'm supposed to feel about this cop. But instead I feel like, ew.
I feel like exactly what you're saying you want is what this guy is providing is you want a solid, funny character actor.
No, I felt no funny. I felt, ew.
All right.
I don't know why. Okay.
Well, Ted is we cut to Howard's house and he pulls up. He's missed his son's big karate ceremony and he pulls in and Phil Hartman is on Howard's roof.
Doing the Christmas sin.
What's he doing up there?
Doing the Christmas sin.
Doing the Christmas sin.
Putting up elaborate decorations that take hours when Christmas is one fucking day away. This is an outrage. Outrageous.
I mean, yes, I think you have permission to just shoot him off your roof at this point.
I don't even care that he's on my roof. Just fucking movie.
Of this again. Yeah.
do something different movie. Oh, it's Christmas. We should do Christmas decoration. There are plenty of things that are Christmas related that you do right up until the last fucking second that Christmas comes. Putting your decorations up are not one of them.
Laci wants verisimilitude. She wants realism. She wants to feel like she's watching.
And then they're in the town square. They're in the town square running around looking for the doll. And there are people, extras, hauling a Christmas tree, walking a Christmas tree through a plaza. That's not how you get a tree, number one. Number two, it's Christmas Eve.
But I mean, my maybe biggest pet peeve in life is somebody mad at you because they're doing a favor for you that you don't want, and they're making you look like the bad guy for it. And I just think it's a nice little well-observed detail about shitty, intrusive people.
Oh, you think this is subtle, do you? Nice little
I did not say the word subtle at all. Subtle.
You didn't. It's just a little well-observed detail. When I was watching it, I was thinking, Phil Hartman is funny. He can't not be funny. I just don't know that he's the right person to play off of Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever it is. But then I was thinking, this reminds me too much of the very realistic neighbors of the fucking Christmas classic that we're about to watch next week, which is Christmas Vacation. And the neighbors in that movie are so fucking subtle. Like, it's all so underplayed that it's perfect. Everything they do is funny. Every interaction that the neighbors have with the protagonists are golden, quotable, amazing moments. Some of my favorite in the movie. And I just feel like it works because they have such believable interactions. This is crazy. There would not be a man on my roof.
Well, yeah. But he's still. The people who make The Simpsons would say when Phil Hartman was alive, like, if you aren't totally in love with the episode you're working on, just add more add Troy McClure or Lionel Hutz, because Phil Hartman will make it good and he'll save you. And I feel like in the course of making this movie, they're like, just add more, just do more.
I could see
Phil,
that,
because you're going to save this movie, and he almost does.
He is the best part of this movie.
It is weird because I only consume him through The Simpsons now, just to hear that voice coming out of a person. Yeah.
What are these faces?
So he goes back in and his wife's like, you missed the karate, you bad man, but don't explain it to me. Explain it to that little boy up there. And so he goes into the child's bedroom and says, I'm so sorry. I'm a shitty. I know I let you down, Jamie, but let me make it up to you. I'm going to do something really special for you, Jamie. And Jamie's like, well, okay, here's the thing you can do for me. You can get me a Turbo Man doll, because if I don't have one, I'll be a loser, because all the other kids in school.
You know what? This kid was not prepared. Oh, wait, never mind. He asked for it weeks ago. That's interesting.
Well,
that's interesting.
This is a mess, because
this is a mess.
They already planned on getting him this doll, and he's like, you can do the thing that you had already planned to do for me. This
is a great example of an adult projecting onto a kid the solution that they are capable of having for that kid. Like, this guy is fucking up on such a fundamental caregiver, father, give a shit level that, Jamie, can you pretend something's really, really important to you and tell me what it is, and hopefully it's expensive, and then I can get that for you, and then I'm not bad anymore? It's like he almost pushes Jamie into, just tell me a thing. And it's like, Jamie doesn't want a thing at all.
But the mother almost seems to agree with that. Like, yes, of course, the thing that you can do for him is buy him the gift.
I don't agree.
I think the mother's not a character. So what she actually thinks is unclear, but she's like, well, just keep your promise to him. You said you get him the doll, get him the doll. But the thing with kids that sucks is what kids actually want is your attention and time. Lots of it.
Well, and for you to do what you say you're going to do. And sometimes that's buying a thing, but most of the time it's just being someplace.
It's being with me. Let's have quality time. And what's, sucks about being a parent is a lot of parents will say like, well, it's quality time, not quantity time, but actually quantity time
is quality time. Right.
But that's the stuff that counts. It's the boring. It's the we're together for long periods of time.
Because it's not about the interaction you're having. It's about the comfort they have from knowing when you get home and when they can expect you around, when there's going to be a babysitter, and when there's going to be somebody that is a parent who they can completely just decompress around. That's it. They just want to know the beats. Kids just want to be aware of your schedule, dude. That's why the quantity of the time matters, or at least be regimented about it. But this guy's all over the fucking place.
It's weird that the most like sort of straightforward family message movie would be, he needs to realize it's not about the gift. The kid just wants you, Arnold. He just wants you. But the movie doesn't realize that. It's like, no, he does need the gift.
Until the end where Jamie has to explicitly say it. Why would I need the doll? I have Turbo Man. Jamie is telling you at the end of the movie, I never wanted the fucking doll that much.
I take it literally as he's like, well, now my dad is Turbo Man, so this is fine.
I mean, the entire time the movie is screaming at you, just come to the parade. Just go to the karate thing. Just stay home today, Dad. Yeah. Like somehow by not fulfilling one promise, it's okay that he's missing all these other ones. It's very frustrating to watch. Also, I don't read the mom that way. I read the mom as basically being a single parent, and she asks the husband to do this one fucking thing for Christmas. So she mentions the doll as in, I hope you got the one thing. Did you?
Well,
also seems weird for her to leave the one important thing up to him.
I'm not going to say it's all on the mom, But Liz,
she should have gotten it.
Know your teammate and don't say like, oh, by the way, this thing 4 weeks ago I asked you to do, did you do it? You need to be checking in over and over again about that.
Right. Yeah, it's on mom a bit here too.
Just a little. I mean, yes, the dad sucks, but also that's the thing about being married. You gotta know. You gotta live with a know your partner's limitations.
Yeah, for sure.
And just be like, no, well, I checked it off my list, so now I win. I win the marriage. You know.
I read it as she is overworked, stretched too thin. I can't tell if she has a career or not. It doesn't seem blatantly that she does not, but it just seems like she's filling in all the roles because her husband's never home.
There is at least that idea of commercialism poisoning Christmas, also just poisoning, families and our ability to be happy with each other, because like Jamie says, it's not, he doesn't want the doll so much that because he loves Turbo Man, but literally it's FOMO. It's like the other kids are going to have them too. And you will see like when he eats breakfast, he's eating Turbo Man cereal. Like everything is just branded. The capitalism is crept in everywhere.
And that's interesting for them to like push that all the way through this movie so hard and then not have a larger point to make about it. It seemed like they did it to actually sell Turbo Man dolls. Like they made them. They exist.
Sure.
And the two sidekick people or whoever. It's like, okay, so this movie, I kept saying, it feels like an extended commercial. This whole thing just feels, the way it's shot, the way it sounds, the tone, all of it feels as important as a 30-second commercial. That is it. And I think it kind of maybe it was.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It feels like a cash grab.
It all adds up to like, that's the only takeaway you can have at the end of it. Can't see what the message of this movie is. Don't really follow any characters like individual emotional journey.
Right.
In the end, Turbo Man rules.
Right.
If I could only be Turbo Man.
In fact, you're thinking, oh, this is interesting. They're kind of setting up a buddy comedy. I didn't expect a buddy comedy to develop out of this like family Christmas movie, but that's actually interesting. Here are two people from very different backgrounds, Sinbad and Howard doesn't think very highly of this postman for some fucking reason, even though he seems perfectly lovely. But through like going through this war together, he's going to get a Turbo Man at the end and give it to this guy, like, because he's going to realize he's got what he needs, or but no.
But they have the kid do that.
They allow this poor man to become more and more deranged and like more and more in trouble with the law.
No, Sinbad's journey makes no sense.
It's mind-boggling, and at the end of it, I don't even think he's got a kid. Like at the end, I'm like, oh, He's never had a kid this whole time. This was just like a way to like have friends or like go on a little He's crazy. He's a crazy person who's been blaming all of his actions on a child.
That is bleak. But I mean, in a different kind of movie that would work. He would be like John Cady in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like, I've been saying I have a kid this whole time, but I actually don't.
There's
but no, this movie's not interested in that.
Sad about this man. And anyway, I thought I was slightly hopeful that that's at least where the movie was going. And like, not even a little bit. They're not even going to keep in touch. You can tell.
Oh no.
That kid, his kid wasn't even like in the audience of the parade. You never even get to see a kid go, "Hey, Dad."
No, and he says like,
he's got no kid.
He's got the cops are taking him away, but he's like, my kid's gonna get this doll. He's gonna be very happy. And I wrote in my notes like, no, the CIA is taking you to Poland to a black site, and your family's never gonna hear from you again.
Those cops, one of them, are super psyched that they finally get a turbo doll because they definitely didn't go get it for their kid. You pipe bombed a building full of cops, and then you hijacked a parade. Like, you're a terrorist. Right. You chased a toddler this was pre-9/11, up a building.
Maybe they're just gonna send him to Guantanamo. The dilemma of the movie. Howard was supposed to get a Turbo Man doll. His wife's like, "Did you do it?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, totally." She's like, "Oh great, because if you'd forgotten, you'd never be able to get one now." And he's like, "What?" But yeah, he just lies and says that he did, because secretly he plans to just go to the store tomorrow and get one. That's the
brilliant.
No other parent of the movie.
No other parents thinking of doing that.
Yes.
Actually, it's kind of shocking how many parents are doing that in the movie.
Well, it's a big world.
Sure. Where do they live?
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
All right.
The movie was shot on location, mostly in St. Paul, and the Mall of America's in the suburbs.
Oh, and they specifically, that was like the clutch thing, is to have the Mall of America, because they want to show you that that roller coaster in the mall, like, so you understand how big this commercial place is, important it is.
They said the reason they chose it as a filming location is that it has the longest winters. What? This is actually a pretty big production, so you need that snow, you need the cold to last a long time. So if the snow's going to stay on the ground for 3 months or whatever, you got to shoot it there. You can't shoot it in California.
It didn't occur to me the snow was real. I never think about it. All right. Okay, so it's the morning, and now he's got to make an excuse why he's got to get up out of the house and not spend Christmas Eve with his family, which is the only thing they actually fucking want. And his kid makes it very clear, make it back to this parade. I just want you to come to this parade. I don't care that you're fucking your secretary right now. Come back home. Parade. And he's so fucking confident. And he's gonna, anyway, on the way out, he runs into the neighbor again, who's got a reindeer. Do we need this reindeer? I don't need this reindeer. Oh no, this is a like fine watch of a screenplay. This reindeer is going to come back later and wreck the house. In a very disturbing scene, wherein a very realistic reindeer gets punched the fuck out. Yeah. Well, and then gets drunk. Made to be drunk by a human. Yeah. What the hell? All right. He's like, I have to, my wife, I have to go to the office to get the doll. But he's actually going to the mall. And she's like, but Howard, it's Christmas Eve. Now, we've worked at office jobs and we've had to work on Christmas Eve. So I feel like I need to make like a sound drop or something for the 90s. Because like back then you got Christmas Eve off. I don't know. Must be nice. So the shops are crowded. Howard goes to the store and realizes I'm not the only one with this idea. Somehow, though, they do have a stack of these very needed dolls. Just happen to have a huge stack at the one store he picks. Weird, but they're all gonna be snatched up by. I think they do at the first location. Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's just everyone. Some people do go away from the store with the Turbo Man. Right. And this is where we meet Sinbad. That's where we meet Sinbad, who takes up for Howard. For I guess Howard he cuts the line. He just muscles his way right through. Doesn't even notice there's people who are also wanting this fucking doll, and the crowd starts to turn on him. And then Sinbad's like, he's just a dad, man, trying to get a toy. Yeah, I wanted to play this clip of Sinbad as Myron, and they let him just go and improvise and just revel in Arnold not giving him anything. Okay, I didn't know this.
I have to shop late because it's the busiest time of year for me. All these important Christmas letters that people send to folks they don't even talk to but once a year. Not to mention relatives sending presents they're going to have to send back anyway. How many toiletry kits does a man need? How about these little stupid letters from kids to Santa at the North Pole? Dear Santa, could you send me a bike and a slinky? No, your father's been laid off. And as if I didn't have enough pressure in my life, my son sends me out for some, like, goofy butt toy. Some fruity robot named Turtle Man.
It's Turbo Man. My son wants one too.
You know it's all a ploy, don't you?
A ploy.
Man, where have you been? Don't you watch TV? We are being set up by rich and powerful toy cartels.
Oh, come
now
on.
You got these big fat cats sit there using working class just like me and you. They spend billions of dollars on TV advertisement, and then they sit there and use subliminal messages to suck your children's minds out. And I know what I'm talking about because I went to junior college for a semester and I studied psychology, so I'm right in there. I know what's going on. And then they sit there and make a kid feel like garbage if you, the father who's working 24/7, delivering mail so you can make an alimony payment to a woman that slept with everybody at the post office but me. And then when you get the toy, it breaks and you can't fix it because it's a little cheap plastic. You know what I like to do? I like to walk up in that office, grab one of those guys, and just chuck him until the eye pops out. Shouldn't wear fur.
Should wear fur. It's Sinbad does his best.
He does what he can. But I do think, again, I just keep saying it again and again. There is a version of this movie that is more about literally everything he says right there is we are all being manipulated. We are all just cogs in the capitalist machine. And kind of in a way, like Christmas has kind of always been that. You can read in Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, 1843, Scrooge talking about how Christmas used to be different and better back when he was a kid. So it's like, that's just always something people talk about is they're creating like a need in us. Christmas is about nostalgia. Christmas is about getting back to something that makes us feel good, but we can't get it because it's out of reach because they're creating a demand in us. But I do like how he says everything correct, except like, goes one step further. It's like they're using mind waves to subliminally haunt our kids and stuff. And it's like you don't need to go that far. It's just you've already figured it out. They're just creating the need in the kids, and now all the kids are looking at each other and like you have a thing, so I need the thing too, even though none of us actually wants it ourselves.
I am relating a little bit more to Howard in this scene though, because as being someone who is constantly zeroed in on in a crowd by the person that wants to rant. Yeah. That's happened to me many times.
Laci is a magnet for weirdos and freaks and crowds. Well, really anybody.
It's not. I don't think they're weirdos and freaks. I think they're lonely. And I think they see in me that I will listen. Away. But I'm listening and by association, I'm co-signing on what the person's saying in a way. And every now and then it slips into something crazy. And I'm like, okay. Yes, I also, and I just met you and you're a stranger to me and I will be leaving. Yeah. Anyway, so that the look on Arnold's face is relatable a few times.
But it is like, I don't know. He should just be reacting more.
Oh yeah,
he should be sillier or like or just more
match his energy in some kind of way.
Just more plussed. He's too nonplussed. He needs to be more plussed by this manic man. Instead, he's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. Do you remember, just backtracking a little? You remember reading a book, like a parenting book, like a million years ago about like simplifying your parenting?
Yeah, the simplicity
parenting. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was about like, don't buy your kids branded toys, but yeah. It had like actually good ideas about like don't have elaborate birthday parties for your kids. All your kids actually want for their birthday party is like just be put in a field with other kids and they will have the time of their lives. And it is true. It is true that like what everybody actually wants is just a more simple Christmas, just wants simpler, more quality time with each other.
Mm-hmm. For everyone not to be tired by the time that we get to hang out with each other for Christmas, to exchange the presents, for everyone to not have had 7 fights in the car on the way there and to have been stressed and trying to get dressed and get food made on time. It's like, can we all just agree we'll eat something really simple or we'll order something? Or like, how can we all agree to make this less stressful so that we actually enjoy each other's company when it's time to do it?
But the thing that is making us so stressed is we want to create something special for you. We want to create something special for each other. It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Well, they go in the store and like some of the Home Alone antics start with like remote control cars and everybody's tripping on little micro machines and stuff. Anyway, this ends with neither Howard nor Myron procuring a Turbo Man doll.
And I do feel the entire time that Howard is way meaner to Myron than he needs to be, and way more ruthless and sabotagey than Myron's character ever intended to be.
Yeah.
I think Myron would have made good on his promise to like help him find a toy if they would have buddied up.
No, and they should partner. They should have. But I do note they do get along, except when a Turbo Man is dangled in front of them. And then once the Turbo Man is taken away, they then start getting along again.
Right.
It is we will compete against each other. It's like the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
We'll compete against each other when the prize is dangled, but otherwise we can have solidarity with our fellow man. They wanted Sinbad principally because he's as tall as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
See, that's interesting because I felt this was the first movie where I felt Arnold seemed short or just average, and that's why. Yeah. That's got to be why. I mean, the entire time I'm like, why? When they've just been filming Arnold like a upshot, like the way they do Tom Cruise or Sylvester Stallone this entire time, and I was under the impression he's tall and he's not. How tall is Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I don't know the height, but it.
You know, I like to know.
I know. And I try to preemptively answer your questions. That's why I put people's ages now all the time. I try to put what you know them from. But fuck, I forgot height.
Yeah, I love height, especially if you're going to bring up height.
You're the height miser.
No, you just brought up height, motherfucker. So.
Sorry. Well, but then that's. The person he's going to be interacting with the most, they'll be similar heights. That way he won't look so abnormal. But no, the point of having Arnold Schwarzenegger is that he's a fucking god.
Right.
What's the point of having him look normal?
They averaged him up. They put him in brown. They unchiseled him. They did all. I was so like underwhelmed with him as a person. There's no spectacle.
Yeah, because
I need the spectacle.
What do you have then? What is he good at?
Right, he's supposed to seem like an alien. He's supposed to seem like a fish out of water. He's supposed to seem like a gentle giant. Like he's scary, but look, he's sweet. None of these things happen. And when they make him mean and petty, it's especially off-putting. Don't be petty. You already won the genetic lottery. Don't be petty. Good for Sinbad being tall. Is Phil Hartman tall?
I don't know if Phil Hartman is tall. Like I said, I didn't.
Do you know anything about Rita Wilson's height?
No, I don't.
I didn't think you would. I think Jake Lloyd definitely puts off short boy energy.
Yeah. There's a montage of him going from store to store and employees laughing at him. And there is like all the employees are laughing at them like, you're so out of the loop. You don't even know what Turbo Man is.
And you don't even know that it's crazy that it would be very low odds that you're going to get this toy. If that's so hilarious, why is everybody else fucking there?
Yeah, I know.
What is it? Crazy or not crazy?
I guess the other people are there for other toys because all the other people in the store laugh at them too.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's a dad? I'm sure the screenwriter's like, I'm a busy dad. How am I supposed to keep up with all my kids' interests? You will. But so what do you think he should do at this point? Howard, if you're Howard, what do you do? The clock is ticking. My family thinks I'm dead probably. We don't have cell phones.
I would probably start calling this is a weird time because there are still toy stores like in different levels of toy store, like your Toys R Us and then like your chain and then like your local chain and then like your hobbyist and then just small toy store for just, it's all kinds of varieties. So there's a lot of places to call, but I guess I would be looking for something outside of the main town I'm in a smaller town and be calling smaller stores and I'd spend the entire time on the phone, I think.
You're more determined than I am. I would just be like, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, what he should do is just.
I mean, I wanted to go steal it from the guy's Christmas tree immediately. that was just stage a robbery. So honestly, that's been the easiest thing.
The thing I think you do is you go into that store and you buy every toy in the Turbo Man line.
Sure.
And you're like, look, now you've got it all. And in 3 weeks or whatever, you'll get the main one. Or even better, just buy booster and be like, here's your present. And the kid's like, this isn't what I wanted. You're like, oh shit, it's not.
Oh, then you're an idiot and a disappointment. No, you don't want your parent to be that stupid. No. Now, because like at least you give the kid the satisfaction of getting to be mad at you if you fuck up. Don't fuck up and make them feel guilty for being mad at you, Matt. He tried.
The kid
That's
doesn't
horrible.
know that the kid doesn't know that he's juggling two lies. He lied to his wife that he already took care of this. He needs to just fess up to her. But then with the kid, hey, I got you all this other stuff and you'll get the one you want soon.
Yeah, I mean,
I tried.
He absolutely seems like his marriage is fine. So he really missed out on not partnering with his smart wife immediately, doubling the manpower. And she could have fucked the neighbor, and he would have given her the Turbo Man.
There you go.
Yeah,
right there.
Easy peasy.
So he goes to the Mall of America, and this movie was very expensive. And part of it, I'm sure, is that they had to pay Arnold $20 million, but also, I guess, shut down the entire mall for a day and have just $1 billion extras. And this is an okay sequence. This store in the mall has Turbo Man dolls, but they're going to do a lottery system with little ping pong balls. And this was what happened with the Cabbage Patch Kids.
I think I have an issue with this movie, the way that I don't understand how I'm also supposed to enjoy Meet the Parents. That the entire movie is in a state of stress of when will this be over, and so I can get to like the next thing that this character is going to feel. There's just something very unrewarding about spending the entire time in one mode of being as a human. It makes me tired.
I think that comes with it just not having a very fixed perspective or idea that it's trying to communicate. If they decided to make him more unlikable, you'd know what you were watching. And if he were, an anti-hero, or if he were a bad dad, and you're sort of laughing at how shitty he is, and laughing at how much, joy he takes in screwing over everybody else.
Right. But I can't get a good read on if the whole time me and our kid are like, are we supposed to like him? Is he supposed to grow on me?
Yes.
That there's not any one time where I like him.
He can't get a ball. That's all. And he chases a little kid around the play place and look out the ball. And he doesn't get it, but runs into the Jim Belushi Santa Claus. And
most convoluted freaking scam ever. It's so you're a mall Santa. Have the doll at the mall.
He's despondent. He didn't get the doll. And the Santa Claus talks to him and he's like, you want a Turbo Man? And he's like, are you talking to me? He is. And he's Jim Belushi. And then his elf is played by Danny Woodburn, Mickey from Seinfeld, who always has to play roles like this. But I mean, I wrote down like, this is literally the origin of Bad Santa, basically.
Is it? I've never seen Bad Santa.
Oh, I mean, Bad Santa is like a movie about like mall Santas and mall elves like scheming to rob the mall.
Like all of them? Like a lot of Santas, or just one bad Santa and one bad elf?
I don't remember. But in this movie, there's like a syndicate, an unclear syndicate of Santas. And
women.
Well, I do like that. I do like that they're like, no, we've got it. We've got the Turbo Man here. He shows him a Polaroid of Danny Woodburn holding the toy with today's newspaper. That's kind of funny.
That's funny. I'm just immediately taking out of it, because I guess in my head I was thinking, this guy's got multiple $300 Turbo Mans, like he has actual Turbo Men, and he's just marking them up like, 600% or whatever. That's a good scheme. That's smart. But it's smart if you put all those, your toys, your supply in a location close to where you work. Why the fuck are you setting up a scam where for $300 one time, you're going to get a stranger in your car, bring them to a warehouse, go through the warehouse.
It's like that's not
you guys are splitting this $150. You probably paid for the doll to begin with. Is this really worth $150 for you guys? You were working. Now you're not on the clock anymore.
I have no idea, because this warehouse just has tons of merchandise in it, and it's got 1 million people working in it.
Right.
And I guess this is like they're stealing from trucks or something, and they're all organizing it centrally. This is not a very clear scheme.
It's not, and the Santa part of it, the role that being a Santa has to do with it, is that this is how they lure, this is how they stake out in a non-creepy way desperate parents and bring them to this warehouse. I assume
And these are other mall Santas who steal from their malls. I don't know.
Fine, but each individual mark, you trust them enough to bring them to your secret warehouse location and drive there and then fuck them over? What? What?
I don't know.
All right. This is just so you can see fun, different kinds of Santas. We've got the big Santa and the little Santa and the naked Santa for some reason that he gets in a fight with. No, he's just not wearing a shirt. And he pops his what are these called? Suspenders. And it pops back and hits both nipples. And I think, ouch. Yeah, that happened. All right. So he does have one. I was surprised. I thought there wouldn't even be a doll. And then at first it's just like, oh, it's speaking Spanish. It's like, so what? That kid from far away looks like he's playing with the same doll anyone else. Take it.
Yeah, is this doll defective or is it counterfeit?
Is it counterfeit?
Or is it just the Spanish edition, but Arnold's pissed off at this?
Well, but he takes it out and I'm confused by the whole thing until he takes it out and then it all falls apart. I'm like, okay, so it's Spanish and defective? What? Like it just
or
needed
just
to
counterfeit?
It just needed to be one or the other. It didn't need to be all these things.
Which again, no, put it back in the box, take it home.
Yes.
This is what I got you.
Yes. It's
oh my
worth
God,
it.
it fall apart. Oh, this shitty goddamn Chinese plastic.
I wonder if anyone else is having a problem with their Totoro doll too.
Solution right there.
Keep the boy at home for the rest of Christmas and just assume that all of your friends are crying as well.
Yes.
It's everyone.
You've at least bought yourself some time.
Right. But okay. So Howard is so incapable of being charming or like socially aware of anything he does or says. He's schwarmy and stuck up, but also pathetic and lovable. He's confusing me. So he pisses off this room full of Santas and he gets in a fight with a big Santa. But then it gets raided, I guess, before they can kill him. And who do you know? But Mr. No Personality Weird Cop shows up. And,
does he? Does he show up there?
Yes. At every police interaction, this guy works. He is a traffic cop. He is a detective on a sting. He's a parade cop. He's a cop that gets a break.
But Howard does play a Frank Abagnale Jr. from Catch Me If You Can here. He pretends he is a cop.
To be a cop.
When the cops show up, he's like, "What took you so long?"
He very confidently explains how involved he has been in this raid. It's like this has gone on too long. Just move on. You've gotten away with it. Keep going.
I was very excited when I was a kid that the Big Santa is played by wrestler Paul White, aka the Big Show.
I assumed this was a wrestler.
Very, very excited. Now, can I bore the shit out of you now?
I don't know why you would stop doing that.
So the way I usually make these, here's what we do with our podcast. We make a PowerPoint and then we basically present it to each other, me and Laci. That's what our podcast is.
Hi.
So when I was doing this, I usually make it at my computer and I rip the Blu-ray of the movie and then put it in Adobe Premiere and get clips and stills from there. But last night I was just like sitting down on the sofa and I had some time to kill. So I turned the movie on Disney Plus and I get a very funny picture of Paul White waggling his finger. Then I go to the computer to try to find the same shot in the movie that I ripped from the Blu-ray and it's not there. And I get sent down a fucking conspiracy, bulletin board yarn.
They're Santa washing
of the differences between the Disney Plus version and the Blu-ray version, to eventually discover there's the theatrical cut of this movie and then there's what's called the Family Fun edition, which is 4 minutes shorter and I think is the only version I've seen other than when I saw it in theaters because it's 4 minutes shorter and it does cut out a bunch of stuff that makes Arnold a little slimier.
Okay.
In this scene, Arnold punches the shit out of Paul White to no effect. Like he punches him over and over and over again in the stomach. That's not on Disney Plus. It just cuts to Paul White, beating him up. You don't want Arnold to look mean.
Right.
So that's all. Just, I think that, I'm getting more and more obsessed with different versions of movies. Yes. I think
especially now that we understand how different it can, I don't know. The Butterfly Effect movie is the one that was like, kind of was like, oh, I need to care about these things.
Yeah.
It completely changes the movie.
I think because like part of my job now is editing video and audio, it's more comprehensible to me, and that sort of freaks me out.
Yeah.
I think about the people making these cuts, and I don't know. I'm just
right. You're making these decisions too. You're changing the tone of our podcast by what you choose to take out and leave in.
Yeah.
And or what clips you decide to need to be in and versus what don't. And
what don't.
You're God. You're playing God.
Well,
right.
he makes it out of the warehouse. He's fine.
With his...
It's just a fetch quest, and he's fine every time.
Fetch quest. All right. Now we're back to him remembering he's got a kid, and he's on a payphone in the diner that looks fucking delicious. I love a diner that's made out of a train car. He calls fucking life without cell phones. Says, put your mother on the phone now. Why can't I do an? It's like the easiest accent ever, and I can't get down. Okay, there we go. Jamie. Wait, is the kid Jamie? And I keep wondering why it sounds so familiar. Is he Jamie in fucking Kindergarten Cop as well? The kid?
No.
All right.
Well, there's like 30 kids.
No,
so.
I'm talking about the kid of the love interest, the one he like gets a relationship with.
No, that one's name is freaking. They say it over and over again.
Right. Jamie. I can't do it. Get down, Jamie. No.
There's okay. You can't Google who is the kid in Kindergarten Cop because there's so many of them. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Anyway, he calls and I don't know what he's going to do by talking to the mom. I'm not totally sure.
Maybe he's going to fess up.
Finally fess up, right? He's just at a diner. He's down. I think he's probably giving up. He knows he's getting close to the parade time. I guess he's just trying to touch base with his mom, but the kid instead goes off on him.
You never keep your promises.
Daddy! Mm-hmm. I don't know the point of his call, but the call instead just makes him feel like shit. And but wouldn't you know it, Myron is at this diner as well. So I guess it puts him back on the chase. I can't remember. Does the call like rejuvenate his like desire? Maybe he was like, fuck it, I can't find this doll. I almost just got arrested again.
That is it. And
so like, yeah, it makes him double down. But it's like your kid is just talking about wanting you at the parade,
I know.
not the doll.
But that's the thing.
Go.
The solution is in front of you the whole time, but you're just obsessed with buying. That's all we can do. That's how we love each other, is we buy stuff for each other, and he doesn't realize.
And then an infuriating thing happens, and this is, I now remember what invigorates there's still a chance, is they hear on the radio, Myron and him, that if you've got the right answer to who are the 8 reindeer or the 9 reindeer, you can have a Turbo Man doll, which is insane. That, I mean, it doesn't matter if I already say this, there ends up being no doll, and the guy on the radio just meant eventually we'll get you a doll. What in what world? What ratings were you trying to spike? What these are the people who listen to your radio show, who like you as a person. Who was this fake prize supposed to impress and help your ratings, pal? What the fuck was this radio guy?
Because the DJ even says, because he says it like it's been rehearsed. Like, no, if you listen very carefully, I said you will get a doll eventually.
That's fine. But a disc jockey's only job is to be a likable person. So that way you care that they're the one on the radio playing your records and not someone else. That is the only way they have livelihood. What asshole idiot disc jockey would be like, I want to make the public hate me?
No, because the public the only person who will find this out is the winner. And there's no Facebook. They can't go tell everybody that they got cheated. I figure all contests are scams like this. But back then, there's no way for anybody to complain about it.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
But
whatever.
They run to the radio station.
Yeah, with the man with the ponytail. Who I always like this guy. I always like, this is a good character actor. He would have been great as the cop. The guy that they use as the what do I know him from the most?
Let's see who he is. I didn't register.
Oh yeah, no, he's in a bunch of stuff that I like, and he's always a weaselly ass, but he's always good at it. The way you use the internet is not like how I'd use it. Yeah, him. He's in like
this is
sitcoms.
Martin Mull he was at Leon Carp on Roseanne. That's probably,
it.
Yep.
That's it. But he's also just kind of like a schwarmy dick.
Schwarmy? You mean smarmy? You say schwarmy.
Oh, I'm hungry. Is that food?
Shawarma?
It's like chicken and lamb and stuff, right?
But okay, Howard like runs to the radio station. They're like, if you could name all 8 reindeer, which like what?
Right, who could?
Everybody knows the reindeer.
There's a song.
But he's running. He's like, Dashel, Dashel, Plansel. When he does go into the radio station, he's very excited.
Yeah.
And this is basically the only time in the movie they use Arnold's physicality and him raving like a lunatic freaks out the DJ as he would. Again, that's the movie right there. Do that over and over. This guy's insane. He's terrifying everybody he encounters. Everybody who sees him should be like, who the fuck is that? And then they go hide. And he breaks everything he touches like this glass door.
Doesn't make sense why he has a loving wife and family that are normal. That's the problem. He's got to be normal. Or it doesn't make sense, but he doesn't make sense because he's trying to be normal.
And then Myron, follows. He shows up too. They're informed, no, I'm sorry, we don't have a doll now, but the winner gets a gift certificate, which you can just take the gift certificate. Here, son, you will get a Turbo Man in 4 weeks.
Again, it's just a gift certificate to a toy store. It's not a guarantee he'll get a Turbo Man with that doll, with that certificate. How can you get a gift How can you get a gift certificate for a specific toy man?
I don't know. Of course you can. It can be from the manufacturer, perhaps.
You're on a wait list. Enjoy.
I mean, listen, it's an okay point. I give you okay points.
Thank you.
When I was a kid, what I wanted more than anything was a Care Bear doll. But of course, I got into Care Bears after the Care Bear
clean up aisle my panties.
I know. I was fucking 4. Okay, but
sexy.
I wanted a Care Bear doll, but I Care Bears weren't manufactured anymore, and I was like, doesn't matter. Santa can make one. And my mom, Christmas morning, said Santa wrote a note saying that his elf who makes the Care Bear dolls had the flu. There you go. That's all you have to say to your kid. Santa's elf who makes Turbo Man has the flu.
Having told you before Christmas morning that you weren't going to get it.
But then the whole Santa lie unravels.
Yeah, but why let you be so excited for so long just to fucking kill your hopes and dreams? It's a dick move.
My mom was probably having her own sort of Turbo Man journey where she's going from store to store looking for cowbell.
Yeah, but she didn't know they weren't being made anymore. That's different.
Nobody knew things back then. I forgot to mention this. I have in my notes, I would rather Arnold goes on a literal Eyes Wide Shut journey where he just sees lots of sex rituals involving Santas. Like every door he opens leads him into further and further into the weird Christmas
culture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the police. So the police come because the DJ's called the police on them, and then Sinbad fucking says, "I'm gonna literally go postal. I have a bomb."
When did the postal situation happen in real life?
It was happening at the time because there's a Seinfeld episode where they talk about going postal.
No. I mean, literally, there is a shooting that happens where that term is invented, and it was recent. It just seems like, I don't know, something about 9/11 made it to where we're not casual with any kind of tragedy, but apparently before that we were. Just casually being funny about it. Between
1970 and 1997, more than 40 people were killed by then current and former employees of the Postal Service.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it was a single incident.
Okay. But there was something in the 90s that I'm very aware of.
The thing that's fucking insane is that he blows up this building with his bomb.
He just blows up a van.
Okay, but no harm is done. Nobody's hurt.
That cop looks weird. Made the cop weird.
Yeah. So now Howard goes back home and he sees that Ted is making inroads with his wife, and then he remembers Ted has a Turbo Man. All's fair in love and war, and Turbo Man. I'll go into his house and steal the Turbo Man. Yes, it's a good plan. But the reindeer gets into the house and causes havoc, and the house gets lit on fire, including how Ted's statue of the 3 wise men, and then Howard kicks it out the window, and then it lands in the snow in the front yard, and Phil Hartman picks it up and he's like, Balthazar. That's funny.
Okay, you're skipping over the fact that he punches the reindeer in the face.
He punches the reindeer in the face.
Knocks it out. Okay, knocks a giant animal out with force, like he would have broken his jaw. And then to make it up to that animal, he puts beer in a dog dish. Beer. 2.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
That's, it's kind of sweet. But Howard lights, his neighbor's house on fire and then Liz, Rita Wilson, and fucking who's Phil Hart? Ted come running in.
Liz and Ted.
And instead of shouting like, "Oh my God, you lit my house on fire," the wife is just like, "Howard, you lied to me."
You're a home invader.
Yeah, and an arsonist, and what? I'm sorry, what?
Right.
What?
You're stealing from a child.
And Ted is just like,
our neighbor.
For shame.
Not. Oh my God.
Yeah. So Ted is gonna now, he's gonna assume the role as patriarch of this family and take them all to the parade.
So weird.
So if you're thinking, and this is, what a parade this is.
It's something.
And if you're thinking, this is quite a parade for, Minneapolis, St. Paul to have. It's this Macy's Day Parade levels, if not more impressive. It's not real. They don't have this kind of parade. And in fact, this whole sequence was filmed at Universal Studios Hollywood on the back lot in April in 100-degree weather. This is the only stuff that wasn't shot on location. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad are in 100-degree weather in those costumes, and all these extras are bundled up in parkas and stuff.
Yeah, now the melted snow makes a lot more sense. It just looks now everything just looks hot now thinking of it.
So Arnold Howard is going to follow them there, and just so weird gets sort of abducted by parade people, and they're like, well, though it is another instance of his physicality. They're like, well, he obviously must be the stunt man.
Right.
What normal man looks like this?
Right.
So they pull him in, they put him in the costume, and he doesn't stop and say, "I'm sorry, what's going on? Could you please?" How does Arnold talk again? I lost it. It doesn't say like, "Don't put me in this costume. I don't understand what's going on." They put him in the costume, and then meanwhile, Ted is making the moves on Liz, and she rejects him and throws eggnog in his face.
Well, hits him over the head with the eggnog cup and breaks his glasses. Arnold
Schwarzenegger is Turbo Man now. It's finally, this is obviously what the movie's been building toward.
Infuriating.
Yeah, this is really shitty. But it did remember, this is why I love this movie so much when I was a kid, is I loved the idea that, okay, this superhero tech really exists. You can fly and shoot discs. You just have to put on the costume.
Okay.
And that's why I liked it.
You're a simple boy.
And then a bunch of shit ensues, and
a lot of kid danger.
Howard, as the star of the parade, gets to get on the Turbo Man float, and he finds out we have a Turbo Man doll, and you can give it away to any kid you want. So he sees this kid, and he's
out
like,
of the box. You don't take a prize toy out of the box. I'm just letting you know that Turbo
true.
Man is derobed. That's not.
Maybe. Yeah, the way they'd actually do it is this is not the one you're actually giving away. This is just represents, and then they have a pristine new Turbo Man in the back.
Yeah, you wouldn't. That's
a plot hole, ladies and gentlemen.
Hole. Also, your dad has the most recognizable face of any fucking man. How do you not know that's your dad?
Because he's a dumb little kid.
The woman doesn't know either, and she fucks him.
She's a dumb little woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he gives the toy to his kid, but then, Myron, Sinbad, shows up, and this completely off screen, we at least see what sort of mishap leads to Arnold becoming Turbo Man.
Right.
But Sinbad just did it on his own, just went and
you see him
inserted himself into, well, yes, but it's not like we see the mechanics of how that happened. And also, why is he doing this? Does he know that they're giving away a Turbo Man, or is he just trying to get revenge?
He's just gone and right. He's just off the deep end. He's in his villain arc, as you can see. Yeah. It makes no fucking sense.
This, like a Marvel movie, it descends into this really shitty looking battle. It's not as shitty looking as a Marvel movie today. I'm not going to be that harsh, but they fly around the city and slam into each other, and the child is in danger, but he's saved. And then Arnold reveals himself. "I'm actually your father." There's this one sort of weird thing where Howard as Turbo Man flies through and ruins this, the only black characters in the movie. Well, except for Myron Sinbad.
Right.
But they're having a nice family dinner, and then their house gets destroyed. But if you could stretch it and say, like, this family's trying to have a nice little Christmas together thing. We're simple. We're just going to recognize Jesus and be together.
Right.
But commercialism intrudes.
Right.
And will destroy all of us. And Turbo Man wins, and the police arrest Myron, and he's going to be taken away. But then Jake Lloyd is like, actually, you can have my little guy. Here you go. And Sinbad is like, thank you. This is going to make my son so happy. And what's the message?
I do not know.
I don't know. But that's it. That's the movie.
It's a horrible movie. Is it the worst movie we've seen?
The family fun edition just fades out right here. But on the super secret Blu-ray that I have, we then cut to them at home decorating the tree. And Liz is like, I'm so happy that you're a superhero, but it only makes me wonder, what gift did you get for me?
His super dick.
And Arnold's like, what? And that's the end of the movie.
Oh, my God. I can't believe they took that away from us.
Is it the worst movie we've ever covered?
I think so.
What a question that is. I mean, I think no, it's near the bottom, but I mean,
what would it be?
Parenthood. I'm always my answer.
No, you're so wrong.
Oh, because Parenthood is aspiring to something so much grander and just trips on its
These
fucking
are your
dick.
old thoughts. You don't know how you'd feel right now.
All right, Parenthood episode coming next week. I mean, we can redo that episode early 2024.
Thank you so much for letting me do that.
But that is usually my answer for worst movie we've covered.
What's your second?
Let me pull up the list of movies we've covered.
Now and then?
We're doing a mailbag question. Somebody can ask us this.
It's fine. It's fine. This is it. This is the worst movie ever. It fucking sucks.
I did not hate it as much as you did.
That's because you're dumb.
What are your final thoughts?
There was no clear vision. It should never have been made. It was a cash grab. It seems completely vapid, and I'm worse for it. I hated it.
Rating?
0. No stars. Fuck
no
you.
stars. Wow.
Okay, 1 for Sinbad.
I think this is really shittily directed, really sloppily written. Arnold Schwarzenegger is so wrong. This is a classic instance of just wrong star derailing everything about it.
Yep.
Slide in, Tim Allen. Slide in,
Sylvester Stallone. You need another guy with body?
No, but you don't. This movie doesn't call for
the Turbo Man part. It does seem like the whole thing was just to put the guy in the suit at the end.
You can have a normal looking guy be Turbo Man.
Can you?
Why do you need a 400-pound behemoth to be a costumed character?
I guess if the muscles are baked in, fine.
Just think of random 90s dad, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams as a
just because of Hook. But if he were this, I mean, yeah, somebody would be able to act. Vince Vaughn in 1996, yeah. Could have actually executed what they were going for. I give it 2 stars.
Vince Vaughn.
I think it sucks, but there's some redeemable stuff in here. Phil Hartman, Sinbad, and
Michael Keaton. This would have been an amazing movie.
Yes, Michael Keaton.
Fuck, he would have made it amazing.
And the cop. And I do like these. I think that the Turbo Man iconography is good. It's accurate to what kind of stuff little boys would be interested
toy guy
in
made a toy
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some hints of ideas about the commercialization of Christmas and capitalism destroying us all. 2 stars. Over the course of this discussion, I'm like, I'm overrating it now, though. Okay, 1.5 stars.
There you go.
For Jingle All the Way. Skip it, I say, but don't skip load-bearing beams.
Jingle none of the fucking way is the only thing I have on my board right now. That's my thoughts.
What more needs to be said?
None of the way.
Except this. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. But please do also subscribe to the audio feed of the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at LoadBearingPod, on Instagram at LoadBearingBeams.
Interact with us on TikTok. That is my favorite way to communicate with you all. Please follow us on TikTok and let us know you're listening.
Yes, load.bearing.beams on TikTok. You can talk to Laci.
Yeah, it's me.
And then she'll tell me what you said.
Because we have no life.
TikTok is scary. I don't understand it. But you can follow me on Letterboxd and see what I'm watching. Letterboxd, I'm at MattStokes9. And the music on this show is by my band, Rural Route 9. You can listen to our album, The Joy of Averages, on Spotify and Apple Music. You can hear the song that you're hearing now, but hear it with words, with singing.
It got words.
Vocals by me and by my wife, Laci.
It got vocals on it.
And you can hear her sort of scream. I love the way she screams on that song. Like,
thank you.
I mean, what it sounds like when she sings is like Tegan and Sarah, but nobody knows who they are. I don't know. Listen to find out.
There you go. What better way?
And again, please submit questions. We've already gotten a few for our mailbag episode, but
Some
that's
good ones.
last episode we're going to be doing this year. December 29th, that episode will come out. And then the new year will begin with episodes 99 and 100 of Load Bearing Beams. We're doing Dirty Dancing and Star Wars.
Yes, we are. Let's go.
Anything else, Laci?
No, just that. I love you. Goodbye.
3, 4. Everybody, Load Bearing Beams.